for meeting today with Unbreakable Thom Shea. And he has a fantastic history, military history, Navy SEAL, and he is a foremost innovator and leader in leadership training and executive training. Thank you so much, Thom Shea, for joining us today, and I'm really excited to have the opportunity to talk to you.
Hey, thank you for letting me come on, Melissa.
Excellent. So obviously you had a rich history, how you got started as a Navy SEAL. That had a up and down and rocky path. So truly your concept of unbreakable. How important in leadership is learning to be able to lead yourself?
Well, you know, I think it would probably be best that we define what leadership is.
Yeah.
And I think it's a disparate equation. You have to lead you first. If you cannot get out of bed in the morning, it's very hard to get somebody else to get out of bed. Not that that's the key to it all, but I define leadership as the ability to, for each individual to have that person have an extraordinary life. And what I mean by that is that they can be healthy, they can learn, they can have great relationships, and they can pursue what they find valuable. And when those points marry under one person, I define that as a leader.
Absolutely. So in your writings and in your books, you have your three things. Defining that for an individual, the three things that help people propel forward, how do you think that's become even more important in today's society with what we're facing with the pandemic, with what's going on? How is it different now than 9 months ago, how you're addressing the concept of leadership?
I don't think it changed just because the people are more privy to that. There's problems in the world. I'm a believer that there's nothing new under the sun. I think leadership today is the same issue that the Romans had, that the Israelis have. It doesn't change just because we are now being, bombarded with either real information or not good information. The premises don't change. And what I mean by that is there are what I call three simple things that profoundly make a difference. And and I divide them this way. The first one is to be offensive, always going forward, whether it's athletically, whether it's learning, whether it's in relationships, whether it's at a job, being offensive. The other one is be defensive. And the final of the three simple things is to think strategically or have a plan that involves something other than today. What fall out during these pandemics and during times of chaos is simplicity. We overcomplicate everything so that we don't do anything very well. And the human system really loves simplicity and hates complexity. And when leaders understand that, great leaders make things simple. That's all they do. Get up, move, turn on that light, do simple things, and do it a lot, and you win. You win in business by being simple, not by being complicated. And come to find out, I've trained many ultramarathon runners and some adventure racers. Even though that seems complicated, it's simple. Like running 100 miles is literally just running a mile and doing it, 99 other times other than the first mile. And that's a simple concept, but humans make it way too complicated.
I love the concept of simplicity. And what I find in the training and the education programs that I've been able to spearhead, I find that there has a tendency to create excuses. You've got one generation saying the millennials are difficult to work with. You've got the millennials saying it's hard to work with a Gen Xer. Why do you think that we fixate on the things that aren't important, like you said, instead of drilling down to the simplicity? Why do we get distracted by all of those other things?
I love the word excuses because I don't train people unless they can do what I call the 21-day challenge. And it should be called Overcome Your Excuses. And until that happens, humans can't be trained. And I don't find that there be a lot of programs out there that make you overcome your stupid excuses. And the ones that do are lethal. And so I didn't understand that until I retired from the teams, because everybody in the SEAL teams, that you don't hear an excuse. Everything is unwinnable in the SEAL team. So complaining doesn't, we're all going to die. Okay, are we going to go or not? You know, and but in the civilian world, reasons and excuses have prevented great things from happening. And what I found to do is, until excuses become mastered, the other part of things becomes too complicated. Because if I can talk myself out of like getting on this podcast, the rest is going to be very hard to do. And if I can talk myself out of getting up and running, and what I found that I thought was important is 21 days of what I call 3 simple things. Get up and run. You don't have to do it in the morning, but run 1 hour a day, or move 1 hour a day. Stretch for 20 minutes and drink 10 glasses of water every day for 21 days. I've not seen, and I've put now 3,000 people through that experience, and 58 people have been able to do it. So it became very profound to understand that it's not that they can't, it's that their excuses run the show. And it's a travesty to have a world that you live in that you excuse yourself from your own greatness. And so that's what until we can do 21 days together or something very simple, the rest, it's not worth doing.
How do you think discipline relates to excuses, or the lack thereof?
I think they're twins. So an excuse is what you use to get out of doing something, obviously. A discipline is making a plan and then just doing it. So they arrive together. Somebody who's disciplined is really good at dealing with their own BS. And, oh man, I don't want to do this anymore. So oddly, I found here's the primary 4 excuses that prevent everybody that's listening from being great. And the first one is pain. Pain excuses you from everything, whether it's physical, emotional, whatever your experience of pain is. The second one is I don't get enough support. So like your wife, your husband don't support you, your boss isn't encouraging. So, okay, well then I won't do what I'm supposed to do. And the third one is an excuse called I forgot. Oh, I forgot. I forgot to get on this podcast. I forgot to write the check. I forgot to call John. I forgot to work out. I forgot to take my pill. Whatever the thing is, that's the third one. The fourth one is kind of foul, but it'll bring the point home, is when you hear yourself say, this is stupid. The this is stupid excuse happens right before you succeed. It's in the 100th time that you have to do something to be successful. On attempt 99, you're like, this is stupid. I don't want to do it anymore. And that excuse is why people don't make it through SEAL training. Just, it is stupid and you're in pain and it doesn't make sense anymore and all that stuff. If you just keep going, you win. And so when people understand those 4 primary excuses, they can be very successful.
I absolutely love your philosophy on being able to visualize one's life without excuses and not quitting. How important do you think visualization is for the entrepreneur, for the runner, for the person trying to make it through SEAL training? How important is keeping that ideal in the forefront of your mind to being able to make it through?
That's a complicated answer. The human experience cannot visualize anything for more than 30 seconds. That's master level. If you think you're going to be able to visualize and have a level of clarity throughout your life, I think it's a travesty to teach people that. But you have to keep turning that light switch on. See where it's going to go, and then 5 seconds later it falls apart. Then take a moment, see where you want to go, get a level of clarity. That's different than what most people call visualization. So like the skier at the top of a mountain tries to visualize all the turns and how it feels. It's because they've done it 1,000 and 100 billion times. So that type of visualization comes with training and practice, but the one that you asked it's a very difficult thing to understand. I think you should practice seeing what is happening to you. Practice an offensive thought. Practice getting on the phone, visualizing getting on the phone with somebody. Practice dealing with stretching, which is what I call the defensive side of health. Visualize stretching when it sucks. Visualize that, because it's going to, you know what I mean? And you'll only be able to do it for maybe 5 seconds until your brain thinks about something else. And that turning the light switch on and off is I say the most important part of life. And it doesn't last long. And for some reason, somebody probably long ago said, you should be able to have levels of clarity. And then somebody extrapolated that to be all the time, every day. And it's not that way. And if you can get 5 seconds, you're a pro. If you can get 20, you're a master.
That's beautiful, because it is so hard. People struggle with that. And you know, New Year's resolutions, most people fail by the end of the first day.
Yep.
And I think it's because they think that they visualize it once and they don't have to revisit it. But if something's important in your life, it's something that you want to accomplish, like you said, even for those 5 seconds, you have to keep bringing it back to the forefront. There's so many studies on basketball players, on different sports players, that they will take one part of the team and they will actually execute the plays. They will take the other group and they're supposed to visualize the plays. It would not be effective for those football players if they had not actually executed the play physically thousands of times before they visualize it. So getting in there, doing the work is what is going to allow each level of success to become realized, and then you can take it a step further. The last question I have for you is just my personal curiosity. So you went from your SEAL team leadership and what you did with your prior service. And I, first of all, want to thank you for serving in the armed forces and your, service to the United States. I can't thank you enough. My grandfather served under Patton in World War II, so I have a unlimited appreciation for what men and women like you do for the United States. But what was that switch? What was that moment or that breakthrough that took you from what you did in your military career to what you are now doing with executive leadership training, the training with your different courses, etc.? What gave you the opportunity or the breakthrough where you saw the value in what you could provide to all of us that listen to you today?
Two answers to that. The first one is, after a long time in the SEAL teams, I was in for 24 years, 23, I can't remember, 23, 24 years. And I knew when I got out, I was ready to get out. And so in the process of being ready, I start asking the right questions, which is the key to being successful. Is when it's time to do something new, ask people who have gone up Everest how to get up Everest. So I was asking people that were in the business space that I looked up to, what's this going to be like? And they all said the same thing. You're so far behind that it's going to be a travesty. And I'm like, what do you mean? Nobody cares that you were successful in the military. if you can't make a difference to people out here, you can get in the door. Like I can get in any door, but it doesn't make a difference. And so what I realized is the only thing that I thought that I knew pretty well was the people side. Like I was never going to be a good accountant. I'm never going to be an engineer. And so I realized my shortfalls, I can improve them, but they're not that great to improve upon things that there's already expertise in the world. But my time in the SEAL teams was centered around people. And I didn't see that in the business world. So I found, at least in my brain or how I was looking at leadership and business, is that the people side of the equation, or the human side, was dramatically under accessed, I guess. So I just took that tact of I believe people are the solution. Mm. And when you can get people to do simple things, great things happen. And we've proven that in business as people, because people don't really need to be an 8-hour job, especially when they work 2 hours out of the 8 hours. Maybe there's another way to do it. And but I found I transitioned very roughly, and it was everybody that's been in past 20 years has a hard time transitioning. But I had 3 kids, and I'm like, I can't sit here and go, woe is me, and the world doesn't, understand me. So I figured the best thing to do was apply the skills that I'd learned in the SEAL teams, which are center everything around people. Technology and tactics and all that stuff changed all the time, but make people the best versions of themselves, and then hold on tight, because it goes wonderful places when people wake up in the morning and have a level of attention to their own life that I saw was very rare.
Well, I can definitely say personally that I appreciate the message, not only that you continue to bring forth, but the opportunities to engage in your books and your podcasts. You really share from the heart. You're authentic, you're raw, and it's greatly appreciated to have individuals that you're like yourself that have rich experience sharing those type of messages. I think that the world needs more people like you to step up and lead from example and lead from the front. So I appreciate, again, your time this afternoon, and welcome again to my show. And I look forward to having the opportunity to not only continue and follow your career, but see the great things that 2021 has for both of us.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.